Hey, future travelers. I am finally back to share part three of my journey of leaving my job and starting my life living abroad. And I'm so happy to finally bring this to you guys. It's been so important to me to share this with you all because I want you to see my journey, how long it took, what all I went through on it, and I want you all to use my journey if you need to use someone's for inspiration and as a blueprint so that you can see things that you would do differently from me and ways to make this fit your lifestyle. So welcome back for this. I'm Tina and I help burned out professionals use house sitting as a way to travel the world and live richly within your means. So let's get started. Where I left off on part two was getting my residency in Mexico. So I come back home and I take 1.5 to 2 additional weeks off work. Again, if you recall, I thought I would be completely done with work by October, which is when I left in part two, when I left the States to go on my sabbatical, but I wasn't. So when I came back, I took an extra, I would call it a week and a half. I think it was about 10 days. And during that time, I had been off work for 3 weeks already. 3 weeks. So, and my brain thought, you're going to be done by now. So something switched inside of me. And to go back was one of the hardest things I have ever had to push myself to do. But, and I know a question is coming up. So by the time I went back to work, it was December 12th. I'm pretty sure. I looked on the calendar. I'm pretty sure it was either December 12th or December 13th. So the question is probably running through your mind. All of your toxic job discovery started in March of 2024. So we are now in December of 2024 when I return to work. So why haven't I quit yet? I have 3 reasons for staying that long. The first reason is you have to have money to qualify for residency in another country. So I mentioned in part 1 that I qualified for my residency in Mexico through economic solvency, and that's for anywhere. You're going to either have to prove that you have a certain amount of money in your bank account. Same thing was for Indonesia. When I got my 2-year visa, I had to prove that there was a certain amount of money in my bank account for the last 3 or 6 months. Or you'll buy property. And of course, I'm not buying property. I had never even been to any of these countries. So I had to keep my job for that reason. Number 2 is one that turns out to be a very, very big deal in this situation. I still hadn't fully come to terms with selling my house. And when I tell you guys this is so important, manifestation is real because my house ended up being a very big deal in the situation. That's going to be a separate video. There's so much information and drama that it has to go on its own video. And number 3 is that what I learned by being off for those 5 weeks, I think, that I was off, I got a chance to see how it feels to spend money and there's no replacement because I wasn't getting paid while I was off. I was on FMLA and I call it a sabbatical, but I took FMLA because I don't know if I mentioned that, but I was just so severely stressed and burned out. And it was well known in the organization that I worked for, the things that were going on in my department. So yeah, my doctor, I was like, I just cannot do it anymore. And so I got a chance to see FMLA is unpaid. Well, I don't know if there is a paid FMLA. I think maybe pregnant women get paid on maternity leave. I'm not sure. But I was not getting paid. And I got a chance to see how it feels to spend money and not have a replacement for it. And what that did for me was make me realize that I wanted to save more money. So initially, my target was saving 9 months of income because I was like, oh, I'm going to just take a break and then I'm going to start a business. I had not even begun to start a business. So it just became very apparent that I needed to save more money than I originally planned. So my original budget was saving 9 months of income at $2,000 at a budget of $2,000 per month. So of course, while I was gone, I had spent some of the money, not much, on my travel expenses, but I decided that I wanted to have 12 to 14 months of savings instead of 9. So when I came back, it became my goal to save more money, but my brain had checked out. Seriously. Once I finally got that break that I wanted, that I had been looking forward to, and I was in such beautiful places. It was so beautiful in Panama at my house sit, and just so inviting and magical in Mexico in Tlaquepaque. Still am in love with that city. And so I checked out. My brain was like, "Hey, you told us to hold on this long. We did. That's it. We're done. So do what you got to do to make it." So when I came back and I went back to work, before I went back to work, actually, I needed something to look forward to and push myself to making it to my goal. Because what I had done is calculated the number of paychecks that it would take for me to reach my financial goal of 12 to 14 months. And I was like, that's it. I'm not working anytime beyond that. So that date ended up being February 7th of this year, 2025. So that was goal number one. But money alone was not enough of a motivator for me to go back to that job that I had been wanting to leave since March. Well, everything started, occurring in March, and then it was May when I realized you work in a toxic environment and you need to get away. But it's now, my goal is February. Money couldn't hold me there, just money alone. So what happened was amazing. I've mentioned before that I am part of a group called Exodus Summit. It's a group of black women who leave their jobs and go live abroad, travel the world. Some of them don't leave their jobs, but you travel the world. Most of the women live abroad or at least travel abroad for some time on a sabbatical and such. So there is an annual international get together in that group every year. And I had never gone because I just never, I don't know why I had never gone. Um, but this particular year, well, for 2025, one of the leaders wanted to celebrate her birthday in, no, it wasn't her birthday. I can't remember why she wanted to go, but she wanted to go to Vietnam. She had been there before and she wanted to go back. So Vietnam was around February 20th. And I was like, shoot, it's not during the time that I'm going to be leaving. But but I knew I wanted to go. When I did my investigation, I saw that they have a huge celebration for the first harvest moon of each year. And we were going to a city called Hoi An, Vietnam. So in Hoi An, Vietnam, they have this celebration every February for to celebrate the first harvest moon. Now this was just after the Chinese New Year or Tet is what they call it in Vietnam, was ending. And I didn't necessarily want to go for that. So what I did was my my last day at my job I set for February 7th. So the Harvest Moon celebration was February 11th. Now because of the time difference, it's like a 12 hour ahead, depending on what time zone you're in the States. For Central Time, it was 12 or 13 hours ahead. And so when you travel there, you essentially lose a day. So I was like, okay, I need to leave on the 9th so that I can get there and have time to rest and then go do the celebration activities on the 11th. So I bought my ticket so that, again, I needed every motivation that I could get to stay the course and stay at the job. Because recall too, I had money. I just didn't have as much as I ended up wanting to, but I had money saved. So I'm like, but I went ahead anyway. And again, I'm still getting everything together for like packing my house and all of that because my plan was to return to the States in October or November, only because I had to renew my Mexican residency by November 15th. I set my plans. I was like, okay, you have to be packed and have this house on the market in the next, 2 months, a little less than 2 months. And that was my motivation to push. So and I have my note card here. Let me make sure I'm not leaving anything out. All right. I had never wanted to go to Vietnam, by the way, but I got so excited whenever I heard about it and did my research because they have a lantern festival. This was the big thing for going to the Harvest Moon. I have always wanted to release a lantern. They had a big lantern festival as part of the festivities, and so I just really wanted to go. So I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Nothing is on my notes. So the next few months would have gone by quickly, except that most of you all can attest when you're trying to achieve something big or move on to a new season, grow in some way, big things happen. That's exactly what happened to me. While I was in Panama, so within a week of me leaving and going on sabbatical, my neighbor called me or texted me one day, and he was like, "I think your gas meter has a leak." And he did like this test and everything, and it did. It was producing bubbles when he sprayed some kind of solution on it. I'm not gonna get into what I was gonna say. I don't know why he didn't just call the gas company, but he told me. So I called the gas company. They came and turned my gas off, and they replaced the meter. And when I got back, um, I noticed that my water was warm, not hot. Eventually, it just became cold. So I called somebody out to fix the hot water heater, and the guy was like, "You can either replace this one or just fix for like a third of the price, about $600. You can just replace these two components on it." And he was like, "I don't know how long it's going to work because this hot water heater is old, but it should do just fine." I was like, "Oh yeah," because again, I'm trying to save money to leave and live abroad. So I'm like, "Yeah, let's just replace the parts for like the $500 or $600." So that's what we did. And I'm like, I've never had problems with my hot water heater, so surely it will last me 2 more months until I get up out of here. Do you know? So we did that a week or two, the following weekend. That was on a Saturday. The following weekend, I came into my kitchen flooded. The hot water heater, which is near the kitchen, so it flooded parts of my house and the water ended up in my kitchen by the time I found it. So the hot water heater just completely died and it was just running water, like overflowing like crazy. So because that happened, I couldn't stay at my house because I didn't have hot water. So, and I was debating on whether I should get it fixed or not, just to stay there for a little more time. And I'm going to do my best not to get into the house situation. I will explain it all in another video when that time comes. So there was another major repair that needed to be done, and I knew that. So my realtor advised me, he was like, don't put money into this house because it's just gonna become never ending. So that's why that was. There's nothing against like leaving the next people holding the bag or anything. It was just we have to disclose things that are wrong anyway. So I understood that logic. And again, I'm trying to save money for my future. So I go on this house sit, which makes my packing slower. because the house sit was about 45 minutes from my house. That house sit was, I think, 2.5 weeks, but I was just trying to get my mind right, get myself together. Still working, all of that stuff. So I went on the house sit, came back and forth and packed until the last week of the house sit. I started feeling very sick. I started having like a nonstop migraine. My body hurt. It was just awful. I had never felt those specific symptoms before. So that started on about a Tuesday. I could not even drive myself home. I had to call somebody to drive me home. I was just that uncomfortable. Went home, kept getting worse. I finally was like, you are going to end up dehydrated. It was bad. So I went to the emergency room around the middle of January. They kept me. They kept me. I was admitted into the hospital. So I stayed in the hospital for 2 or 3 days. I came home, and of course I had to recover. I still didn't feel, 100%. So I wasn't doing any packing. I missed out on about a week and a half of packing. So I'm basically packing by myself because one of the two girlfriends in Dallas, well, one of them does not live in Dallas. She lives in California, but she was just coincidentally coming to Dallas in February. So she came by, but the other one, who I feel like would have been the huge help, she got sick, and I had just been sick. So we decided no, because I wouldn't have been able to go on the trip if I got sick again. I couldn't get everything out before I left. I had I had a garage full of stuff to donate, but we wanted to sell what was gonna sell first and donate what didn't sell. So she had already set up two garage sales for after I left. I had a realtor. We had been working together. What he told me to do was so of course I was going to have to close out of the country because my plan was to be gone, far beyond when the house should have sold. So he had me, just for backup sake, sign appoint a real estate power of attorney, just in case whomever bought my house did not agree to a remote notary, me signing everything remotely for us to close. So I felt like every line was dotted. I had put in storage what I wanted to, what I could put in storage or what I wanted to put in storage. Everything was set. So that was it. Now I'm gonna take a moment to look at my cards because I feel like I left out something. No, I didn't leave out anything. So the plan was to leave on February 9th. I lost a lot of sleep those last few days, but I did end up getting on my flight from San Francisco on February 9th. Again, with the plan I was thinking I would come back to the States in like late October and just get everything together. I left my car at my cousin's house in Houston. And so maybe by then have decided what to do with my car, just be refreshed and have worked through some things, and then come over to Mexico to meet the deadline of November 15th or 16th to renew my residency. So that was the plan. It did not work out that way at all, at all after I left, which again is because of the house, but that's another video. But I want to end this video by showing you guys, I did record because I quit my job in Hoi An from Viet Nam. So I recorded it and I want you guys to see it. Here it is. Here I am again in the amazing Hoi An, Vietnam, and this is my letter of resignation already typed out, and all I have to do is push send on the email. So here I go, pushing send, and it is saying sending. Let me know when it goes, because I can't see.
Hit send again.
Oh no. Okay, anyone with this link? Sending again. Is it sending?
It's sending. It's in there going.
Do I need? It's sent.
It's good.
Okay, and then I have. No, it's cute. It's not sent. Okay, wait. Let me see if I can find some Wi-Fi. And I'll read the letter. It says, "Hello. Hope you are well." No, it says, "I hope you are well. I have attached my letter of resignation. It is effective immediately. I have appreciated the opportunity to work with you and the team and wish you all continued wins. Sincerely." And here I am pushing send again. It's sent.
It's good.
It's sent, you guys.